We got a bidet! Hey everybody, and welcome back for another video. In today's video, we are covering Ahsoka. We've been waiting so long for this show, and they were so gracious to give us a day early to see the pairing of episodes. Yeah, thank you, Disney. Although it would be much better, in my opinion, if they would release them all at once, because I remember when I was watching it and it ended. Sarah, I don't know if you picked up on what I was doing, but when there was like 7 minutes left of the second episode, I like bumped the controller for the TV to see how much time was left because I was not wanting it to end. But yeah, this show came out fire. It is good. We are here to talk to you about what happened and then give some thoughts on the pair of episodes as well. So maybe we'll kind of do like a little bit of a popcorn style. Who knows? If I run out of steam, somebody will pick it up here. But the way we kind of start off this show, which honestly was a pretty good way to do it, I thought it was pretty cool. We get a version of an opening scroll. And crawl. Okay, I'll call it. I'm all over the place. There's a character where his last name is Scroll, and I'm all over. Yes, opening crawl. Thank you, Sarah. We get an opening crawl, but it's not your normal opening crawl, which was kind of, in a way, it was cool because I feel like it set the tone for us. Like it wasn't that blaring Star Wars music of "Yay, we're on an adventure." It was like Sarah and I have actually just been rewatching the Texas Chainsaw movies, and it reminded me a lot of their scroll, how like it or crawl, sorry, where it's like very slow and there's not a whole lot of cheery music to go along with it. It kind of sets the tone that something is either happening or there's like a very dark tone to start off the show, and we actually do.
They even read it to you. It had audio with it, which is not typical for the opening crawls in Star Wars.
The Star Wars one did?
For Ahsoka, yeah, they read it to you.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I don't remember it either, but maybe.
I say Texas Chainsaw read it to us.
This one did too, I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. I don't remember that. But after the crawl happens, we get a basic opening to Star Wars where we're in space and we see this big old ship, and it's the New Republic, and they are transporting a prisoner, and this prisoner actually is a callback to the Mandalorian season 2, I believe, or when Mando met up with Ahsoka and then they went and did this mission. It's kind of when Mando got his pike, the Beskar pike
spear.
And Ahsoka was looking for Thrawn, and she was looking for her name. Morgan Elsbeth is her name. She's the Night Sister witch. That's what she was doing in Mando, but here she is captured already from previous episodes, and they're transporting her basically to a rebel prison. And so they get contacted by a ship that says that they have a Jedi clearance code, and they're like, this is ridiculous. There's no Jedi. We're just going to call the bluff. And then they let the ship in, and when they go out there, there's these two hooded figures that appear, which, to our eyes look like Jedi, but maybe more dark Jedi because of the dark clothing. And it turns out they are not necessarily Jedi. They're bad guys. The picture behind me, we see the female character that's involved with Skrull, actually, Balin Skrull.
There's no R. It's just
What's
skull. There's no R. It's just skull.
Oh, Skull. I don't know why I kept thinking Skrull.
Marvel.
Oh, oops. So her name, because I didn't catch it in the show, her name was Shin Hati? Hati?
Shin
Hati?
Hati. I
Hati?
think Balin said Shin a couple times, but it was pretty hard to pick up.
Gotcha. Because I definitely picked up his name because they've said it a lot in marketing, but I'll just call her Shin for right now. So Shin and Balin separate. Shin is actually going towards the bridge or the deck of the ship, whereas Balin is going to recover the prisoner. And basically, they have this mission where they break out the prisoner, kill a whole bunch of people, and then leave because they accomplished their mission. So that's kind of our introduction to them. And then we do get quite a few introductions to the characters in the first episode of the two. It's kind of like setting the story up a little bit, but also seeing where everybody has been. So we kind of see Ahsoka. I think she was first. She's going to that like old ancient temple where we see in the previews where she cuts the hole in the ground and falls through. She's there because she's looking for some sort of map and or a object that will show her a pathway to where the last, and I didn't quite understand this from the show, but it sounded like it was a projection of where the last remnant of the Empire took off. Is that what you guys were picking up from that?
I think it was just basically leading to where Thrawn is. I mean, we'll find out obviously in the next episodes, but that was kind of how I understood that. It's like it was just leading to where Thrawn was, but
It made me wonder though, like what part of that map is attached to Thrawn, so to speak.
right, like how is it linked to him?
Right.
Um, yeah, I guess we'll have to find out, but the way I'm picturing it now, there's like the same platform and like stones and stuff that they found in episode 2. I feel like they have that same setup somewhere else. And it's like a mirrored image. I don't know. That's just what I'm living with in my head right now. We'll find out, obviously.
Yeah,
But
in terms of why the map exists, I'm gonna say because it worked with Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogy, so why wouldn't we have a map here saying where this guy is? Um
well,
how
I mean,
Ahsoka found it was because she used
Interrogated.
unconventional methods to get the map location from the prisoner, Morgan.
Right.
yeah. And we don't know if this is just like a map strictly to navigate between these galaxies, which is an incredible feat in itself. Um, I'm not sure of their travel capabilities, but I feel like that's like crazy speed travel for them. For people who can already travel at light speed, I think
Right.
that's like would make traveling. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see if that's like they're only using it for that purpose, or if that map could be used to navigate to other places too.
Yeah.
But
It
we don't
reminded
know
me
too much
of
about it.
the what's that?
We don't know too much about it, just that it came from the witches, the Dathomir, right?
Right. Yep. It reminded me a lot of the Star Forge. I don't know if Austin, if you've played like Knights of the Old Republic or know much about it, but they had like a star map that was, humongous and stuff like where it projected a big picture and whatnot and showed the whole galaxy. But I don't know if that's the way they're going yet, but maybe. But yeah, Ahsoka finds this object where if you do this whole Rubik's Cube thing with it, you can create the map that it will project. And so she takes it and she's greeted by some droids that are trying to take her out or take the object back from her. She takes care of a couple of them and then gets away. She calls in her ship to come flying by so she can, get away from these droids. And she wants to get away because basically once they realize that they are not going to win, they like plant these bombs on themselves to explode. And
Self-destruct mode.
yeah, and it wasn't just like a little poof, it was like a massive explosion. I was surprised how much force there was from that small little bomb that they had. It looked like like the charges that they used in Return of the Jedi when they blew up the generator, the ones that they stuck on the ceiling. I don't know if that's a callback or not, because there seem to be a lot of callbacks in this show to other things. But needless to say, she gets away and she has this object. So that's kind of our intro for her. Sabine, we're supposed to see like a celebration on Lothal, kind of celebrating Ezra because he's no longer with them. He's kind of like he's seen as a hero. I believe the governor was like, we do have a survivor here to talk about things and celebration, and they're trying to be like Sabine, and she's not showing up. She did not show up to her own party, needless to say. And so we find out that she's actually just like leaving. It's the scene from the trailer where she is on the speeder bike and she does this little maneuver where she like slides under another ship, because there's a couple of security forces that are trying to stop her with their ships, like park the ship and on the road, and that's when she pulls off that maneuver to go underneath and just keep on going, to that massive house that's at the end of the street, where Sabine lives. So we get to see a little bit of her cool little antics and the snarkiness that she has towards authority and whatnot in that little scene. We also see Hera. She is now a general for the New Republic. But I believe what's really just bringing them together is this idea that Ahsoka has, the object that can lead to Thrawn, but not only Thrawn, it also will lead to Ezra, which grabs the attention of everybody else. And Ahsoka knows that Sabine has an eye for art, so she gives this object to Sabine on her own ship, on Ahsoka's ship first, and Sabine asks, "Hey, can I take this object somewhere else where my mind can be clear?" And although Ahsoka's not really into it, Sabine just kind of like takes off with the artifact that Ahsoka picked up from that little temple. So Sabine takes it. She goes to her own quarters, and we get to kind of see a bit more of Sabine's lifestyle. Her loft cat, which is super cute in the show. She has some artifacts from before. She has like a little Jedi communicator that has an old recording of Ezra on it that we see her, watch it, but something tells me maybe she watches it, more often than we think because she misses Ezra. But she's looking at this object. She eventually figures out the markings on it and is able to unlock this big map. And while this is happening, we also have our bad guys for the show realizing who has the object, and they go to track, or Shin goes to track down Sabine. I feel like I'm missing a little bit of their part of the episode in that, but ultimately they convene. She has to go find Sabine. She uses a little probe droid to go and look for Sabine on Lothal. It was very reminiscent of Darth Maul when he sent his Sith probe droids to go find Qui-Gon and the group in episode 1. So she eventually finds Sabine and she takes off for her. She basically ambushes her in the night. She sends out her droids first, and Sabine is able to take out one, but the other droid that went there grabbed the artifact and went down the elevator. And when Sabine goes to take off after him, she realizes that the droid is with Shin. And so Sabine draws her lightsaber thinking like this is going to intimidate them, kind of a thing. They'll give it back to me. And then when Shin draws her lightsaber, I believe Sabine is like, uh-oh, this is going to be interesting, needless to say. She does send out like an SOS to Ahsoka saying like, I need help now. That way Ahsoka can be on her way. But ultimately what happens here is that Sabine squares off with Shin. Shin stabs Sabine in the gut and takes the artifact from her. So now our bad guys have the artifact, and then we're left as a cliffhanger with Sabine looking like she is going to be dead, but we know from the second episode right away that she is just fine. Would somebody else like to talk for the second episode?
Of course. We're just gonna, yeah, I'll just talk about the second episode and then we can kind of go back through and talk about some of our favorite, we can like break down some scenes. But
Yeah.
So in our second episode, we quickly find out that Sabine is going to be just fine. No one ever really dies, you know.
Yep.
Especially when there's, you know, medical attention nearby. But anyways, moving on. Sabine's just fine. She got through the star map. Coincidentally, she solved the Rubik's Cube for them right before they stole it. So it's all ready to go. And then, boy,
Well, she had one of the droids like saw the map, and so like they had to go and recover the droid's head, and they were doing this weird Star Wars version of Operation, the board game.
Yeah, so they were able to figure out what planet that came from, and the droid came from Corellia, which was odd to them because they didn't think that there was any like Empire sympathizers left over there because everybody's been taken prisoner. So Ahsoka and Hera go over there to try to figure out what's going on. Where did this droid come from? They talk to I'm gonna call him an inventory manager because that's basically what he was.
his name right here. His name is Min Weaver.
Min Weaver, there you go. Thank you. So they're trying to figure out, you know, like, well, what's with this ship? What's going on with that? And he's trying to say it's classified. There's a little battle between Hera saying, like, I'm a general, nothing's classified to me, so things are kind of a little weird. Then they realize that there is a massive hyperdrive that's basically being stolen, and everybody on the little crew deck where they're at kind of turns against them and is apparently like Empire sympathizers. So they wind up taking everybody there prisoner. They chase after the hyperdrive that's being stolen to try to figure out what's going on over there. We've got a battle between Ahsoka and I think she's battling with more of their droids, right? Or is one of them like a Night Brother or something like that?
Yeah, the one is the Inquisitor. I think it was Marok.
Yeah, because you've got Hera in the
right.
ghost ship trying to chase after the other ship, and then you've got Ahsoka doing ground battling with the Inquisitor. So this is where we get to see Chopper because he's on the ship also, and he's just his super fun self as always. They aren't able to destroy or stop that ship, but they are able to plant a tracker on that ship to see where they're going. And the Inquisitor that Ahsoka is battling has a getaway vehicle come and pick them up before they're able to really do any damage to each other. So kind of nothing really comes from that battle between them other than there's some crazy things going on that we didn't really know about. So from here, I'm not sure what happens next.
Yeah, they get away with the hyperdrive, right? So
They put the tracker on it.
They put the tracker on it.
Hera and Chopper get a tracker onto the hyperdrive, so they know where it's being taken, and then they can, you know, complete their investigation or push it further.
Yeah, they close out the episode with showing the like huge ring vessel that was it Morgan? Is that her name?
Yeah, Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah, so Morgan is basically putting this ship together with enough hyperdrive so that they can make it to that other galaxy where Thrawn and Ezra are. And they have just basically a little discussion of, you know, should we be worried about Ahsoka and stuff like that? And Morgan's convinced that she doesn't have to be.
So you think the big ring is like some kind of ship?
I do because in Revenge of the Revenge of the Sith, I believe they show it. When Obi-Wan is going to Utapau, his ship goes on a ring, and then the ring takes them.
That's exactly what I was just gonna bring up after you were done talking about this. Is how the Jedi ships have these like hyperdrive rings so that they can travel at light speed
Right.
because
So
they
I'm
can't normally do that.
I'm kind of wondering. Well, so the ring didn't look like a straight up ship. At least it didn't to me. I mean,
Right.
so are they gonna dock some huge thing on there, or is that supposed to bring back what Thrawn is on?
Uh I was halfway between the ring, the Jedi ring, hyperdrive rings, and between it being some kind of portal. I'm not really sure.
Maybe. I mean, they are starting. Well, there's been a lot of rumor that we're going to start to get some discussion about magic with the Night Sisters and stuff, and maybe that would be because in Jedi Survivor, we actually see that the Night Sisters can create like these tunnel portals that you can like basically sail through. So maybe that might be where they're going.
Yeah.
Well, before we get too deep into things, there was one other very important thing that happened at the end of the episode with Sabine.
Oh, she chopped her hair off.
Makeover.
I meant the fact that she's going to be training with Ahsoka again, but I'm glad you guys picked up
Oh,
on the fact that
yeah.
she
The
changed her
episode
hair.
title was Master and Apprentice. We didn't really mention that, but
Yeah, we didn't talk about how they had kind of a hasty relationship with their training before, and then Ahsoka actually makes it a point that she is very much somebody that just leaves people. Like she talks about how she left the Jedi Order and left her master behind, and there was one other thing that she had talked about, but when she was
Left
basically
Sabine.
well, that's what I was saying. When she eventually started talking about Sabine, it like clicked in her head, like, maybe I'm the problem, kind of a thing. She didn't say it, but it kind of looked like on her face that she was realizing, um, you know, she can do better,
yeah.
but better at being a good person, I should say.
And Master.
Yeah. So I guess talking about some thoughts about what's going on here. Uh, I thought the episodes were phenomenal. Like I said, I didn't want them to end. And when we were done watching this, I wasn't like, what the heck was that? And what am I supposed to, hope for what's coming next? It basically just left me wanting more and wanting to be able to click next episode. We binged. Like I said with our previous podcast with Rebels, that Sarah and I binged that in like 3 hours went by. So I would love to be able to do that with this show, but I know I can't.
Yeah, we just gotta take what we have and, you know, drink up every little sip that Dave Filoni gives us and enjoy it. Because I think it's gonna be a good ride.
Oh, I do too. I feel like there wasn't anything I think that was like visually like, oh my God, what was that kind of a thing. But I think they are gonna build to it.
Yeah, nothing like blew me away. I mean, I liked the star map stuff. I liked the scene where Ahsoka finds the star map, where she does the little like Tomb Raider kind of thing, lines up the stones. Um, I thought that whole like area was very cool, that temple. That was probably, I don't know, it's in the trailer and everything, but when she throws her lightsabers in the ground, twirls them in a circle, and just sinks into the ground, that was like, oh, it's pretty cool.
I thought it was funny how when she was battling those droids, she did a similar thing with them
Yeah,
where she went back in the hole and then was like zipping one at a time, so she could have a one-on-one instead of
yeah,
having 1-on-5.
a little bit easier fight.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool and clever.
Yeah, that fight with those droids was really good. I got to see Ahsoka do her thing with the white lightsabers, of course. Which
And if you have Disney Plus, you can go on right now for Shop Disney and buy those lightsabers, but you
Oh,
have to be a Disney Plus subscriber.
that's crazy. I had no idea. I'm on my
Yeah,
way.
they had exclusive merch for the Ahsoka show that released.
I saw something pop up about that, and I was like, how? And I just clicked watch show anyways.
What is this? I just want to watch a show.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So Ahsoka, those droids were really cool, like assassin droids, pretty much. Um,
The runtime of the episodes was much longer than I was anticipating because we're used to getting episodes that are what, like 30, 35, maybe 40-ish minutes for some of the more recent shows.
That's
And these
true.
ones were both way up there.
yeah, they're pretty good. 57 and 44 with credits, of course, but um,
Well, the
yeah,
first episode was like very similar to something like Game of Thrones, because usually that's a right around like the 50-minute mark without credits. So my wish would be that they would kind of keep up with that, because that's, when you think about um like Star Wars exclusive shows on a streaming platform, these are the caliber of shows like Game of Thrones, The Last of Us.
right.
Um, so I feel like they should be, hitting that standard of what should be the runtime and not just doing, oh, it's whatever we feel like, or oh, it's quality over quantity, which is one of the worst things I started to um, hear with Star Wars, like way back in The Force Unleashed 2. We all
You
know
know,
how that happened.
I love that
Maybe if the
idea.
quality was there.
Right.
Yeah.
Sarah's on the money. I love that idea. Quality over quantity. That was Tales of the Jedi for me. We don't want to talk about that. But
Yeah, I could see that.
um quality over quantity, yeah. We need the quality though. And
We do.
Ahsoka so far is 2 for 2 on quality.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, some of the reviewers are saying that they felt it. I felt there wasn't a second wasted in these episodes. I felt like they're really, first of all, the scenes were very, very quick in the beginning. Like, I was surprised how fast it was moving between different characters. But again, I feel like they kind of looked at what they have. They can't have some excessive runtime and basically make it a movie. It's a TV episode, so I feel like they used their time very wisely and didn't put anything in there that was fluff. I couldn't pick anything that was fluff in this show.
Yeah, I
They
think
really kept the intensity up there.
yeah, I think the scenes all had like good either character moments or they pushed the plot along in a meaningful way and they were like interesting and visually they were, I liked the all the fight scenes and everything. The
Yeah,
choreography was great.
they they felt they felt more, I don't want to say well thought out, but they felt more. There's a different feeling than there was with the sequel trilogy. I will say that it felt like it was more like prequel type stuff than sequel trilogy, and that's a good thing because the prequel trilogy is where they had Jedi at their top notch and doing great fighting moves and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, the one thing I do want to mention about that, though, because Sarah and I were kind of talking about it after we watched the episodes, was Sabine's fighting style. I thought it was really cool that she was like super agile and flexible, because she did like a move where she basically like bent all the way back to the ground when she was fighting with Shin. So I think it's kind of cool that she's mixing in a little bit more of her style in there. It's not just
Mhm.
a straight up clash, battles over kind of a thing.
Right.
So I thought that was neat.
I
Yeah.
didn't really get to appreciate her fighting style because I felt like the editing was so choppy and it looked so like robotic with the way that she was moving. I don't know. I wasn't
In
really a fan of that one.
in that fight scene, I wasn't I didn't pick up on the fighting style kind of thing of Sabine so much. Um what I picked on up on mostly was just the difference between them. like Shin has obviously had some, training. She knows what she's doing very clearly with a lightsaber, whereas, you know, Ahsoka said she never completed Sabine's training, and so I'm not sure at what level she is, but you could tell that there was a difference in their skill levels at least.
But she's
Right.
a bit rusty with it too, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And Sabine, yeah, I mean that's not her like weapon of choice, right? She's a Mandalorian, so she's comfortable using a bunch of different weapons, but maybe not a lightsaber is her first choice.
Yeah.
But she
Uh,
did go back and grab it, when she thought she might need it against the droids, because that was before Shin had even showed up.
right.
So it's
Yep.
not like she knew she was walking into a lightsaber fight.
That's true.
A good point. Uh, one thing that I wanted to make sure that we mentioned here was, I don't know about you guys, but, and I was talking to Sarah about this afterwards. I kind, how when we watched Kenobi and Reva got stabbed twice in the gut, and we were all like, there's no way this would be happening. There's no way she can survive it. And yet we get another instance where someone gets stabbed in the gut and they survive. I was telling Sarah, I was like, I feel like this is like a kid in the classroom that's really trying to make a word be the cool word in the friend group, and everybody's like, it is not cool, just stop it. I feel like Disney is like pushing this in our face, like, see, people can survive, they can, it happened again. And I'm just like, please stop it. I don't like it.
Yeah. Um, right. And yeah, I guess what do I want to say about that? So they
Remember Qui-Gon, remember Qui-Gon.
right, obviously. We miss him. We wanted, five more movies with Qui-Gon, but we didn't get them. It's fine.
No, we just got Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And right. So obviously the technology is going to get like a little bit better in the Star Wars universe as it keeps going, but still, yeah, they're going a little excessive with nobody ever dying. Um, there
I
should
was
be
just waiting.
stakes, you know.
I was just waiting for her to become half robotic like Fennec.
Yeah, there should be some stakes. And Star Wars is super big on like, fake limbs and stuff.
I would have been
So
all for that. She could have like got a robotic arm and painted it, you know?
yeah, yeah, they could have done something a little bit more. I mean, we'll see if there's anything to do with her injury, later into the show, but if we're just done with it at this point, I don't love it. But
Yeah, because I mean, clearly we saw Shin and Balin just slaughtering people on the ship.
right, so
And
they don't have an
now,
issue killing anyone.
right, so now all of a sudden it's like there's somebody that's wielding a lightsaber and I'm gonna let them live.
Right. I'm not gonna do, a kill strike. I'm gonna do, you know,
Right. So I don't really feel like that adds up,
Did
but
she see that Ahsoka was there though?
okay, that's the other thing. She was going there she was looking for Sabine, right? But it was
right.
because
I think she was just looking for the
Sabine
man.
was linked to Ahsoka.
She was looking for Sabine because that's why the little probe thing was like tracking.
Yeah, but it was kind of like because of Ahsoka, right?
Yeah, yep.
Like because she knew yeah, they're very in the know. That's the other thing I was going to ask you guys about later. Balin is very in the know about the Jedi, about specifically the Jedi that we know, like as in Ahsoka, and Sabine, to know that they're like master and apprentice. And where did you get this piece of intel from? Who is this guy?
Well, the one thing that we at least we know from chirping in the marketing, he is an Order 66 survivor. Um, there was a preview that was released fairly recently, so you might have missed it, where it's kind of like a gold shading and it's showing like Vader and Hayden Christensen as Anakin, and it's Balin talking to Ahsoka saying like Anakin Skywalker was a great Jedi, everybody knew him, blah blah blah, and he kind of knows that connection between them, and so he's aware of Ahsoka because of knowing what happened in the Clone Wars. Um, the
Sure.
Sabine connection, I don't know 100%, but he was a Jedi at one point, and we do find out that he's not like a Sith, he's a mercenary. So we get to find out how that all plays out later on. That's why their lightsabers are an orange tint and not like a pure red.
They're just in it for the credits.
Thought that was just my eyes.
No, it's not your eyes. When this show, the trailer was released, they were talking about how it was deliberate because it was a homage to the original Star Wars poster, where Vader and all them. It's the one where Luke is like pointing at you, and then everybody's around him, and Vader's in the background. Vader's lightsaber in that poster is like an orange color as opposed to red, and they were trying to like incorporate that a little bit with these lightsabers to show a little difference.
Interesting.
Yeah. The more you know.
Yeah. And it was to show that they're not like fully Sith, right?
Right. That's how they're trying to distinguish. Like they're not. It's weird because it's they're trying to say like it's not the rule of two, but there's two of them. They're both mercenaries, which I wonder if I didn't pay any attention, but I wonder if you were to see their lightsabers side by side with Marok's, because his is, or they, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl yet, but their lightsaber is the pure red from the Inquisitor saber.
Yeah. That's another thing I was wondering about. These two seem to be of a different breed than your Inquisitors. So why are they in cahoots? Why are they a group?
It's funny, I was thinking that exact word. um, it's actually pretty funny because if you look on IMDb, that character is not mentioned. So whoever's playing that character is also not being mentioned. Like
No lines.
there's no indication of who this character is. So I'm very curious to find out what's going on there. But yeah, it's weird to think about if they're mercenaries, how are they connected to an Inquisitor, which worked under Vader?
Yeah, right. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But any ideas, Sarah? What do you think?
This is all new information to me. I just remember them saying that they were master and apprentice
Yeah.
because she was calling Balin master.
They got
So
this third wheel hanging around. There's master, apprentice, and third wheel with a
meaning
wheel
Morgan?
lightsaber. No, I'm talking about the guy that Ahsoka fights in the second episode that like threw his lightsaber.
The one that looks like
The
a
spinny one.
knight.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I didn't realize before this podcast that their lightsabers were orange and not red, so I kind of just thought they were all friends, so to speak.
Yeah.
All on the same team. I don't know. I still haven't really come to terms with the differentiation of the group, and they kind of seem to all be working together for whatever reasons.
Yeah, that's how it seemed to me as well.
We also got to remember we're all like learning this as we go. It's not like we knew this beforehand. It's just different things that we take in from hearing about different pieces from media. It's not we don't have the background of this stuff as we do like other stuff. A lot of it's speculation too. That's what we're doing a lot here. I feel like there's something else I wanted. The stabbing was like the number one thing I wanted to bring up because we all know about that. Oh, I thought it was kind of cool. So we know from like Mando season 3, there's like a handful of, Star Wars has had like this idea that a lot of the actors and actresses that they use aren't like big names. They're usually some people that you haven't really heard of. And I think it's kind of cool that they're starting to mix in some more well-known people. Like I recognize the guy that um at the facility on Corellia. He was the one that was like, "Oh, this stuff is confidential. I can't open it up." The guy that was like taking them around, I recognized him from the show House, which was like super random, but I was like, I know that guy. And Sarah had another one. Do you remember who that was, Sarah?
Yeah, one of the characters we haven't brought up yet is, I swear every show or movie needs a new droid, right? So, like all the rest, we get a new droid here. And it's kind of like Ahsoka's assistant, but he's also working with Sabine. Like she has direct comm links to him too. And so that droid's name is Hu Yang. And that is actually voiced by David Tennant. And a lot of times when a droid is voiced by somebody, you can't really make out who they are because it's a lot of beep boops and stuff. Uh, but like I can actually hear his voice even though it's modified. Like I can tell that it's him now that I know the name. So I think that's pretty cool. I know him from Doctor Who. Um, and then he's also in oh, what is that movie? The vampire movie. Ooh, I
This is
don't
the guy
remember.
in Jessica
Fright Night.
Jones. Yeah, it is.
I remember him from Fright Night also.
Yep.
I thought that was kind of cool seeing some like I believe the guy you're talking about, what, David Tennant, is that what you said?
Yeah.
He's way more popular in my opinion than the one I brought up, but it's still cool to kind of start to see some more familiar faces. I remembered what the other thing was I wanted to bring up. The cinematography. What did you guys think of the way it looked? I felt like this show.
Before we get to that, I want to point out in, was it Mandalorian? We saw some familiar faces like Jack Black. Okay, that was not the same. That was, this is done much better. I feel like these
Yes.
characters are just their characters and not playing as themselves. So there is a difference.
I respect the fact that Jack Black was in it. I love Jack Black.
I actually thought he was like perfect for that role. Lizzo actually is what took me out of it, which it's I'm not hating on Lizzo. I just think like Jack Black was just himself being some, goofy Jack Black basically in space. But yeah, we don't have to tear on Mandalorian. But
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
mean, to Lizzo's
Lizzo's
point,
acting was left
she's not an
something to be
actress.
desired. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, back to cinematography. I thought the show looked really cool. Um, the I don't know a whole lot of like artsy terms to put it in, but it just, it looked like it was really well done. It looked really like top-notch professional to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was only one scene that I thought was a little bit iffy, and that was when they were transporting on Corellia to the like main facility, and they were like riding on a truck or whatever. And it in my opinion, it kind of looked like they were just sitting there, and they were like in the olden days, and they'd have like a picture that they would move in the background to simulate that they were moving. It kind of looked like that and brought out that screen a bit more, in my opinion. If you don't know what I'm talking about, they use a screen like a huge circular screen that makes the backgrounds look real, so they don't have to go in and post and like paste it in there. They can just do it as they're acting. And so I felt like it made that look a little more like, oh, something's up here, as opposed to um, some of the other stuff. But that was the only scene that I would say that about. Otherwise, I thought it looked amazing. I thought it looked like a movie. I thought it was kind of like night and day compared to some of the other projects that had been going on.
Yeah, this is right on par with like all the good Mandalorian shots we've gotten over the last couple of years, and uh, the cinematography was good. There's a lot of good entrances, and anytime they're going from like another part of a scene to another. Like when Ahsoka jumps out of the window, slashes the window and jumps out of the window. Like that's such a cool change of scene. And like in the beginning of the first episode, like when she cuts a hole in the ground and goes down into the temple, like um I don't know. I think they did those shots well. It's like,
Yeah, it was nice to look at,
yeah,
needless to say. Music was pretty good too.
yeah, good music. I didn't pick up on I'm sure once we like hear it more over the next few episodes, like the actual theme of this show, I didn't really pick up on too much, but
Same. I just felt like, so like when you're watching Star Wars movie, like you said, you kind of know the music already, but the way that the music is conveying what's happening on the screen, so like when things are, happy and joyous, they have some really good music that accompanies that and like makes you feel happy and joyous kind of a thing. And so I felt like a lot of the music was pretty on point with trying to match you as an audience to what was going on, being a little bit more uh, engaging.
yeah, the music was good. It fit well, and you know, the like you were saying, the fight scenes had crazy music going on. The spooky, mysterious parts had spooky, mysterious music. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. So do you guys think we see Thrawn in the third episode?
I don't think so. I think they're
I
gonna
don't
have
think
at least
so.
one episode of the journey.
Yeah, I don't think these three, the three Jedi and then Morgan Elsbeth, I don't think those four have gotten enough screen time yet. So I think we have a little bit more with them. I mean, I'm sure they'll be around for a few episodes at least, but
So I'm
So
gonna take your question and twist a little bit, Jeremy. Do you think we will see Thrawn before the characters find him? Like kind of a what's Thrawn up to while these characters are trying to find him?
part of me thinks we will as maybe like a cliffhanger to episode 3. But I don't think we'll get like a full-on interaction with him. Uh, I want to ask Austin what I asked you, Sarah. But we know that they're planning multiple seasons of Ahsoka, right? How would you feel if they did a Luke Skywalker here with The Force Awakens and it like the final shot is Thrawn coming into the show?
I'd be upset
I think I would too.
because that like using that character in your show will make your show so much better. So it's just like a wasted opportunity. And
Yeah.
and I struggled to think that they're sitting there in the writers' room thinking like, yeah, we've got too many good ideas. We're just gonna like show Thrawn at the end of the season, I guess, and then he'll be in season two. Like I have a hard time finding that you know living with the idea that they were just like, yeah, season one will be good without him. Like we'll be good.
Yeah. I hope we see him a little bit sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
Um, I do think, like you said, I think there's a lot of room to breathe still with some of these characters. I know for myself, the thing that I'm looking forward to the most right now is finding out more about these mercenary
yep.
dark side users. I don't know if that's what we want to call them. Shin being my most interested. I'm like, I feel like we know a bit about Balin from not only the show, but the buzz that was around the show. But we didn't really hear much about Shin. So I'm curious to learn more about her character.
I just feel like she has kind of like a classic gothic girl vibe, even though she's blonde. It's just a different personality type than what we've seen with dark side users.
Yeah. We haven't gotten we haven't really gotten like long conversations with them, interacting. We've only seen them as like master and apprentice, really. But she seems a little bit impulsive, but also like very confident. Um, quiet, quiet, reserved. So yeah, we'll have to see why she is that way, or why she, what her intentions are. If she's just following Balin's lead, or who
Yeah,
knows?
I'm excited to learn more. We know quite a bit about our heroes for the show if we've seen Rebels, but I'm curious to learn more about uh, the bad guys. So, Austin, question for you. So, the girl that we know, Morgan,
Mhm.
and we learn that she's part of the Night Sisters. Has her character appeared in animation, or is she new?
Not that I know of,
So she's not
because
like the head Night
all
Sister,
not that
right?
I know of. I
I didn't
mean,
think so.
so what I remember about the Night Sisters, they were all like, I'm gonna mess this up so bad. What, you don't happen to know like Sabrak? Is that Darth Maul? What is he?
Sabrak?
Oh, I was so close. Aren't they like, right? Aren't they like the Sisters of Dathomir? Aren't they like also that alien species? Sabrax? I don't know.
I don't know. Let's
I
see.
just I just remember in animation they didn't look like human. Like they had like wrinkled, like they looked like witches.
Some of the it says most Night Sisters, this is from Wikipedia, were full-blooded humans, but some of their covens consisted entirely of Dathomirians, the result of hybridization between human witches and male Zabrak from Ratatak. Didn't know
Okay,
all that.
okay. So there was some. Okay, yeah. So that clears that up a little bit. So yeah, no, I don't remember seeing her in anything else. I remember seeing the droid though. The droid's not brand new. He's been in animation before. The
Ah- Ahsoka's droid?
Huyang. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw he was in it for like a brief little bit there.
Yeah, just a few episodes or something. Like helps the new Jedi's build their lightsabers.
Yeah, because that's how he recognized Balin's.
Yeah. Yep. I think we skipped over that, but yeah, they had security footage from when they broke out Morgan. So they're able to, zoom in, you know, clean up the image a little bit. And then
Use their
Huyang's
Google
got his
Pixel.
database of lightsabers over the last 500 years.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting stuff. Uh, was there anything else big from the episode that you guys wanted to cover? Episodes, I should say.
I think I'm good.
Big stuff. I don't think there was anything too big. So we saw most of the gross ghost crew. We saw a projection of Ezra. Presumably, we'll see him by the end of it. What do you think about Zeb? Do you know what that guy's up to these days?
Well, he's working for the New Republic,
Yeah,
so maybe we'll see him. I was
but so is
surprised we
Hera,
didn't
right?
see
And
him.
she's here.
Yeah, I was surprised to not see him.
I think it was
Maybe,
like
yeah, I was about to say maybe he cost too much money to make.
he they spent all their money on doing him in one scene in Mandalorian.
Yeah, they're like, oh, there wasn't enough buzz. Can't fund him for this one.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool to see Zeb. But yeah, Chopper was great. I did not go through your stuff.
Yeah, Chopper was really good to see. That was pretty funny.
Yeah,
Thought it was funny seeing him go through his little drawers.
yeah. So I can't wait for more Chopper. Um, yeah, the Ghost Crew is great. So
Yeah,
I was just grinning like ear to ear the whole time, like watching these two episodes. It was fun.
yeah. We look forward to more. Um, so that was kind of our discussion on the first two episodes. Definitely recommend watching it as soon as possible. That way you can take it all in and be ready for episode 3, which comes out on Tuesdays, right? Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time, I think is what they advertise. But if you enjoyed this type of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We will be having a weekly video coming out talking about the show, and just like we did here, discussing it, speculating, things we liked and didn't like, all of it. So make sure to tune back in with us. Drop us a like if you like the video, and drop us a comment letting us know your thoughts on the 2 episodes we got this week. And then, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Peace.